Hello, it is the 12th day of Elul. You will notice I am still in Italy for a few more days. And as part of my ongoing quest to find Jewish community here in Italy, I had the extraordinary luck to be here during one of the few times that the Jewish cemetery was opened, and that was today. And I'm wearing, this has been a very complicated day. I'm wearing what's called a fazzoletto, and this is the sign that I am part of the Contrada of Aquila, which is a very Sienese thing, and also has a little vestiges of Catholicism. What we're doing today is celebrating the patron saint, but the patron saint is the name of Mary. Not actually Mary, but the name of Mary. And I think of that as being mom. It's like saying mom. So that's what we're celebrating today. And also, I went out to the Jewish cemetery, which is completely fascinating. I only even found out this week that there is a Jewish cemetery. It's outside the walls of Siena, about a 20-minute walk outside the walls. And the cemetery is very old. A lot of the headstones are completely illegible and falling over. But originally, and for centuries, it was just woods. So the cemetery land was granted to a Jewish person in Siena in 1461. And I don't know if they started burying people there until the 1500s, but that's already kind of a long time ago. And so you can imagine that, some of the headstones are really nuts. It was just this wooded hill. There were not even really paths. You had to kind of like now there are paths, but originally it was just a hillside. And in fact, they didn't even wall it in until the late 1800s, about 150 years ago. It was just this open woods where everyone knew the Jewish cemetery was. And they are still using it. The most recent headstone that I saw said 2020. There was someone in our group who, his mother was buried right next to that particular grave. And that was very meaningful to have someone there who was there to remember his mother and just celebrate her. But one of the wonderful things that's going on here in Siena, I don't even know if there are enough Jews living in Siena to make a minyan, maybe just barely, but not everybody wants to go to services. So just because there are that number of Jews in town doesn't mean they can have regular services. So they do have services for holidays. They bring in a rabbi from elsewhere because the community can't support one here. But the woman who does the kind of cultural Jewish things in the town said that when they started fundraising to repair the roof of the synagogue is completely closed now as they work on some reparation for damage that happened. There was a little earthquake in 2023 and it damaged the ceiling. So the whole place is closed. They had to raise a huge amount of money for the work. And she said, they always think of themselves as this tiny little town that doesn't have enough Jews to make a minyan. And the donations came in from everywhere, from all over Italy, from all over Europe, from internationally. And they were so taken aback at the idea that we're all part of this Jewish community all over the world. And everyone wants to support just having the cultural Jewish identity. So because the synagogue's closed, today was the day that Siena was celebrating the Day of Jewish Culture, which is celebrated in Europe. I think it's in Elul specifically. I mean, obviously today is Elul. So all of these things kind of coming together today. What they realized about 6 months ago was that the synagogue would be closed and they couldn't have this Day of Culture at the synagogue like they normally would. And so they racked their brains and they said, if we cleaned out the cemetery, and they spent 6 months hacking out all the brambles and the incredible mess of forest that had overtaken the whole thing. So now it is beautiful. Lots of people came today to visit it, and I was so proud just to be part of this Jewish community on this day of Elul. That is my story of what I did today. And we're going to play some shofar now.
So, during the month of Elul, cleaning the sanctuary,
Cleaning the cemetery is a thing. Yeah, they've been doing it for months, but it felt so right that all of this happened in Elul. You're supposed to visit people in the cemetery. I mean, there's just so many things converged today for me here. We're going to talk tomorrow actually about another really fascinating thing that has to do with the cemetery. But right now, I'm going to say, Tikia, Devarim Trua, Tikia,
Tikia, Shavarim, Tikia,
Yeah. Rua. Yeah.
Tikia, Shivarim Trua, Tikia.
Shavuot Tov.
Shavuot Tov.